Alrighty, back in the shop. Finally, 6 shifts later. Haven't been down here a good week or so now. Got a few little updates we did on the last couple days off, but nothing major. Just slimming down the list though, slimming down the list. I did talk to Trevor about the aluminum hood deal sort of thing. I don't know if he knew the hood was aluminum, but he did tell me that that hinge was bent and he changed it. Obviously he changed it to a steel one and the old aluminum one bent, so that's why this one, the magnet stuck to this one. I also noticed with these steel ones, the spring is much thicker because, I mean, it's meant for the weight of a steel hood. And you look at this aluminum one, much thinner and stretched out more. It's like you can just tell. So I bet if he had of kept the aluminum spring over there, this hood wouldn't be so wonky and tight to close. Like, you have to be cautious not to kink this hood on that side, which it's already a tiny bit if you look in the right lighting, but you really got to like push the hood in as you bring it down, so as to not do that. I did get the under the hood light working, and I kind of spruced that one up with some bumper chrome paint. The original one in the car, I just couldn't get it's like 2 pieces of metal put together. I couldn't get it to ground, just too corroded. So I grabbed the one off the Buick, cleaned her up, put it in here. That all works with the headlights on. So that's pretty cool. Another thing we got working is more electrical. Sweet. Sometimes daunting, but in the case of this car, simply corrosion related. So much water and moisture in the interior, the whole fuse block, just everything rusted, corroded, whatever. The hazards ended up being just the little hazard relay flasher. It was just corroded, and then I had put a new one in, but I had squished it a bit with the pliers when I pushed it in. It was so corroded, hard to get in, so apparently you can't do that. But we got hazards now, and they're flashing at a pretty good speed. We actually pulled the relay out of the Buick because the ones I had were way too fast. I don't know if it was for a newer vehicle or what, but the lights barely came on. Just click it, click it, click it. So we took the one out of the old La Sabre and it was perfect. Also got interior lightage with doorage. All it was this, yeah, you really can't see, but you know what they are. These door switches down here. That one was just corroded, had to just screw it out a bit and clean it up and got it working. I also have the dash completely torn apart. Not completely, it's put back together a little bit farther than I had it. I had that all out, and I've been doing some reading in the manual. Just this whole thing is a unit. Like the whole back dash backing, I'll call it, is like a unit. And I believe even where the speedo is and shit is all connected to that plastic unit from what I can see so far. Anyways, not like a G-body where you can just pull that one unit out and get to the backside where all the lights are and shit. This is all a unit, so it's a real pain in the ass to completely get out, but I am going to work on it. I have all the lights working, ashtray, that, heat, HVAC, the clock, just every little light in there I got powered up. Gas gauge, but I don't have any up on the speedo, and I don't have my high beam bulb. So that's something I'd like to get before I put all this dash back together. And then while I have the bezels and all that out, I can really clean them up. It's way better scrubbing them down and spraying them off out of the car. But yeah, that's where we're at with that. I tried to dig in and get that speedo and stuff out of there, but I'm gonna have to try again because I failed on that one. And I didn't want to pull and brake or anything. But yes, interior lights, awesome with the door. The passenger one was already working, and now the driver's one is working. What else do we got updated? Not much. I did fire the car up once more after that last video where I just kind of cut it off when I was running it there after the lifter install and stuff, and it started up really nice, and no ticking, very, very little. There's one small tick, but not really concerned about that. And yeah, just been doing some reading on everything to do with the HVAC. There's freaking diaphragms and there's so much to do with this vacuum, but you know, once you dig into it, you can get a pretty good understanding of it, especially with one of those manual books. Got to thinking about the timing. Another complete idiot kind of move. It's like the classic, find top dead set, put your thumb on number one cylinder, find compression stroke, top dead center, put the mark on 0 down on the balancer, and then the rotor should be right where the number 1 plug, wherever it is, it should be just before the number 1 plug at 0. And then boom, you know you got your rotor in the right spot. Then you set your timing to 12 degrees like it says on here. Instead of me just messing around guessing, it's actually been a long time since I've been messing with some of this stuff. The small block, anything, or the old, just anything. I mean, I've been LSing it with Regal for a while, and I haven't really had to do much on that for quite a while, so it's funny how it slips out of your mind after a while. Not that I was a super pro before, but that's what I'm saying. If you like old car stuff and home brewed type of guys working on cars and shit, I suggest checking out Cold War Motors YouTube channel. Sorry, I'm freaking nasally. I've been sick all week. 2 weeks I've been sick, coughing. But anyways, Cold War Motors, check them out. Just awesome what they accomplish on the amount of cars that they work on. And the group of guys on the channel, Scott's the main guy, but all his buddies, they're all different car guys in different wings of different types of cars, and you get a view inside each one of their styles of car guy shit. It's awesome. So he's trying to get 60,000 subscribers. I don't know him personally or whatever. I just watch his YouTube channel. It's on my top 3 YouTube channels. And then I know Dean a little bit. I actually bought my Buick Century off of Dean, and we've been somewhat buddies ever since. He's always finding me parts and shit that I don't need to buy, but that's another story. But yeah, if you want to check it out, I like it. There's funny skits in Scott's videos that, I don't know, to me it's almost like a hint of Trailer Park Boys mixed in with car guy life and heavy Canadian presence in there. And a not give a fuck attitude, just, you know, I'll smoke a doobie and beat this fucking panel on a piece of wood and fucking comes out good. I'm telling you. I liked a few of his new videos, and I went back and watched from the beginning all of them just to really get a sense of who they were and how, and you know, it's crazy. I watched 10 years of the guy's YouTube life, and I'm hooked. So whatever, I'd like to see him get his 60,000 subscribers. I mean, the guy's been on YouTube forever, and he does some pretty cool shit. Yeah, comment on one of his videos that G-Body James sent you over there. He is not a G-Body fan, so I think that would be kind of comical that I send him some fans and whatever. What else in our neck of the woods? We got quite a few things crossed off this list. We got the gas gauge and low fuel light left. That's probably the sending unit. Fix the windshield leak, check the dash lights. All I have left is the speedo on that. Fix the dents in the roof, that's way down the road. Repair the grill, I can do that. It's got some cracks in it. buddy of mine thought he could push on the old grill here and cracked it. Luckily didn't fully break it out, but I'll be able to glue that from the backside and fix that up pretty good. Plus there was already a crack right here, which not much you can do about that, but I can glue it to make it stronger. So that's something I wanted to do and I can do. Transmission cover install, bullshit. Windshield stainless after I figure out if that windshield's leaking or not. Vinyl top moldings, heater box leaks. Oh yeah, a bunch of stuff that isn't the best to do in the cold winter. I can't pressure wash a bunch of stuff outside and let it dry in the nice summer heat. Like, it's freezing out there, so that's something that really sucks. I don't have water in the shop. I wish I did, but I don't. So yeah, that's about what's going on with the car. I got 4 days off here, so I'm hoping to poke away at a few things, possibly take it out in the snow for a little driveway drive and, you know, hang her out there a bit. We'll see about that. I think we got her in a nice enough running state that we can probably play around a little bit. Yeah, I'm gonna rewrite this list and add a few things on it probably, and then we'll poke away. Just a lot of interior work, but you know, it's things in the way of doing that. Like, I gotta get the headliner done before I do all the rest, and that's money for one, headliner, and time. I don't know if I'm gonna attempt that myself or farm it out, but anyways, enough bullshitting. Let's see if I can get something done on this car, and we will touch back with you in a while. There's the new list, and it looks longer than the old list. What I chose to tackle tonight, was this catastrophe. Yeah. So, what we have here, other than being a clusterfuck, is the dash pulled apart so that I can try and replace the speedo lights. Unlike the G bodies, this little cluster area doesn't just come out. It's part of this entire unit here. All molded as one. Although it looks like it comes out, I'm pretty damn sure it does not. Release the speedo, release this air duct, headlight switch out, windshield wiper switch out, whatever was over there out. Don't even remember. Defrost switch is still in there right now because I don't need to go any farther. The HVAC controls are out. That was a real bear. If you've ever taken one of these things out, it's such a pain in the ass to get this clip that holds the cable for the hot cold door flapper. But I did end up getting it. There's just that sort of round release down there, and normally a clip comes up farther where you can push on it, but as soon as I push on it, it snapped with the screwdriver. But luckily I was able to get this out far enough to look down in there and pry that out. It clicks right into this guy. So hard to see, but yeah. And then that clicks up in there. Super hard to get out, but it's out. The radio's out, stereo, all the bezels and bells and whistles, the ashtray taken apart. That was because I was replacing the light in it before, but I think it also needed to come out for this whole piece to come out. So now I have access to the lights in behind here. Let me see it. Yeah, those little clip-in light bulbs, we can change them. I think the middle one is the high beam, the two side ones are for the speedo. Yeah, 3 of them in there. There we go. But yes, hopefully those are just burnt out and this will be an easy swap, but unbelievable amount of work to change 3 small light bulbs. Just brutal. I also took, oh, that's what goes here, the Prindle indicator, park reverse, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, just a bear. The worst was probably this, and then this vent had to be undone with 2 screws there and 1 there because it won't pull past here being attached to here, and then there's no room up here, and there's, holy shit. Have a beer and some chips. Yep. So I'm going to change those bulbs, and hopefully we got speedometer lights and high beam indicator. And then I will try and put this back together while it's fresh in my mind. That's the smart thing to do, but I also have to check out all the heater controls and all that stuff too. So while I'm in here, it might be a good idea. Also, I noticed extreme sloppy fitment back there. That is an air duct, which will shoot air up that duct over there to the defrog. But look at the gap in that. Absolutely brutal. Like all your hot air is just gonna shoot under the dash here. So maybe I'll work on sealing that up. There's one of those diaphragms back there, part of the vacuum actuated heater controls in this thing. So yeah, wouldn't mind making sure all the HVAC's working while I'm in here, but man, leaving this stuff apart for too long is dangerous moves, because that's what I'm gonna do for a bit. Extreme funness. Need music. Okay, well, I did manage to get the speedo light working, or the speedo lights and the high beam. Mostly just real finicky adjustments. One of the bulbs was actually burnt out, the high beam one, but the 2 dash lights about there and there weren't burnt out, just needed some wiggling and whatnot. And you can tell there's some corrosion on this like plastic circuit board that goes on the back there. So who knows, but they're working. So give them a quick shot. They're pretty dim right now because the battery's almost dead. But we got that. And we got high beam indicator. So I'm happy with that. I don't quite want to put it back together yet because I am playing with the HVAC system, but I almost need it running for that to get a good amount of vacuum. So unfortunately, I won't be putting this back together right away, but whatever. I'll give it an honest attempt at getting this to work. I don't believe this is the original heater controls in here. It might be. This is a TEMPMATIC, but just the way this little light here is kind of been added on to the other light has me suspect about that being a different unit, but we will see. I do have defrost only at the moment, so we'll get it fired up, get some vacuum to it maybe, and give it a shot. That's gonna be it for tonight, I think. Okay, slightly deeper than where I left off. And yeah, dash pad is out. It wasn't that much more to get the dash pad out from where I was in the last clip, but it is still a big item to rip out. I guess you got your two speaker things there, and then you got your regular dash pad hold down bolts, which one is hidden behind each speaker. But yeah, that came out, and then just pull your glove box out, and if you got the trunk release and the little glove box light, that's a little bit of work to pull out, but not a big deal. Unhook the HVAC heater vent right there off the tube, and you're good to go. So right here, you might notice, and I've noticed on a lot of cars and wondered what that hole was for. Some of them you can see in plain sight, like that might be one right there on the Buick. It's actually for an air tube that sucks air past a temperature sensor to tell this thing to automatically sort of climate control. Which, if you think about it, in 80, 81, 82, it's quite advanced, I guess. It's more advanced than I ever thought these cars were, but after reading into that book, I've learned a bit, and yes, here's that tube I was talking about. So it sucks down past something down in there, but yeah, you have to refrain from panic when you get this far into something like this. You're on the edge, but it's okay. You'll get it back together. If you leave it for any more than 3 weeks, you're fucked. But realistically, not too bad. Most of the fasteners are all the same. The ones that aren't, I try to put back in their respective homes so that when it comes to reassembly, the different ones are where the different ones go. But yeah. So this is going to give me access to a little bit more of the HVAC system and stuff. There's that gaping gap of a air vent connector, but there's a actuator or diaphragm right there, which with vacuum should open and close the defrost door, I think. I'd have to do some reading. I did read it, but it's hard to remember it all. There's another diaphragm up there, which activates, let me hang the light here, activates this door here, which I believe to be the recirc sort of vent. So like when this is closed, it's sucking air from in the cab, and when that's open, whichever way you want to look at it, it's sucking air from the cowl. Here's the little thingamajigger that the atmosphere air gets sucked past to tell it to turn on or turn off, or it's complicated for me to remember and explain, but that's the gist of it. So I can operate this cable here off the red clip that was such a bitch to get off, and close that, and that is the cable up here that opens and closes, I think, the hot cold. Yeah, I believe the hot cold. So that's still all intact. Where was I looking? Oh man. Down here? Yeah. So got this stuff down here. I'm trying, you guys. I'm trying. It's tight. All connected. This has a vacuum line which goes to I don't know where. But I'm assuming this is part of this system here. I'm not sure. But regardless, that moves on quite a bit of spring tension. Yes, the linkage is connected to this, which the air gets sucked past. But there's this little dinky little cable piece here that's rusted off. And here's the other half. And I just don't know where that would have went. It looks like it would have went around maybe this. I don't know. So I'll try and do some reading and figure that out. And if I can replace it, I will, because maybe that makes a difference. But yeah, quite the bear to take on here. But I'm giving it an honest effort, and that's what it's all about with these old rigs. You gotta at least try. The book definitely helps a lot, and you could find those eBay or Kijiji or whatever. I've actually bought quite a few off the same guy on Kijiji. I don't know how he has so many, but I've bought a few off of him. Here's the little glove box thingy. I just pop this retainer clip off and then it slides out of the glove box, and then these are the wires for the trunk release. Here's another vacuum right here, and I don't exactly know what that one's for either. But if we get everything moving and free it up, that might help with some of the stuff. And I'll probably get this thing fired up. Hopefully not start an electrical fire with all the shit that's unhooked right now. I would take this out, but it's not really in my way right now, so it can just hang. It's still got the lighter plug-in and a few other things on it, so not particularly in my way. This can come off really easy. There's just the wires are attached to the back. It just pops off right there, which would allow me in there a little deeper. Even the factory like seal jobs are just shit. Like, that tape is supposed to be behind the flange here and seal the air. Like, they just hammered these things together. They don't give a shit about air leaks, and it, for the most part, probably worked. But yeah, that's where we're at this point. Like I said, the dash pad itself came out fairly easy once I had all this crap sort of undone. There's just a bunch of bolts across here, and yeah, that's about it. Yeah, start up, hook up manifold vacuum to the main vacuum line, and just see what's happening. See if I can hear vacuum leaks in here or see them or whatever. Give it a shot anyways, and at the very least, if I don't do anything with it and get it fixed any better than it already is, at least I can clean up everything really nice. It's so much nicer to clean everything when it's like out hopefully the weather warms up a little bit and I can get the pressure washer out. Debating whether or not to do anything with the dash at this point either, because I mean, now would be the time to sort of grind this stuff out and, you know, just do a frickin' Bondo patch job or something, and then get some dark blue SEM paint or SEM paint or whatever you call it, and, you know, give that an effort too, because the guy could probably clean that up pretty good. Would be worth a shot. That's where we're at tonight. Just charging the battery now. And yeah. A little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. Something kind of funny I found in the car when I was cleaning it out. I haven't, I guess, fully cleaned this car out, but I did find some Canadian Tire money. This is a Chevron receipt for 40 bucks. 40.23 liters. 2005. Speeding ticket, 138 bucks. We got warranty on our battery. More Canadian Tire money. Here's the little piece that fills that hole in the dash that had wires hanging out of it. This is the little alarm flashy light. Labor to check and repair short for taillight circuit. Repair wiring for charging system as required. Check window wash and advise. 128 bucks. And they also rigged in that second battery wiring. I know they did that. There must have been something going on with the taillight short. Pharmacy thing. This is way back. This is the original owner. This is the guy that passed away who used to own this thing. Not the original owner, but before Trevor. Oh, part of the old day permit. Proto. Cash call. Olds. 88. Blue. Towed from Midas. Oh, this is when he got the exhaust done. $52 tow. Don't frickin' get that anymore. Oh, and here's Midas. This must have been from the dual exhaust. 2 custom exhaust pipe, tailpipe clamps. $294. He must have supplied the mufflers, but fuck me, that's cheap. 2005. 1981 Oldsmobile Delta 88, baby. Anyways, a little bit of history, and this is Trevor's grad thing in here. We always used to hang those off our rear view mirrors and have the subwoofers shaking them. The more you could get those things to dance, the better your system was. Anyways, another night in the shop, digging deeper. Didn't get a whole lot done, but we're getting to the point of where we can get some more done, and it's non-exciting stuff, but I mean, it's on the list, so get her done. Alrighty, I'm back. I did have the battery charged up enough to start the car. So I started it and just started playing with the heater controls and whatnot. We have defrost and like middle bottom vent, and that's on all the time. No matter what I switch it to, that's on. So I took the vacuum line off the pod that's on the defrost sort of gate box, and I pulled vacuum on that. It did change and made it only defrost. So I know that little diaphragm is holding vacuum. It's not leaking. I couldn't do that with the, what is it, the recirc one that I was talking about. But anyways, I figured out on this little guy, on the back of the heater controls, there's this guy, and that all the vacuum lines plug into this on the back. So the vacuum, incoming vacuum is this guy right here. The 1, 2, 3, 4, I figured out that's incoming vacuum. So I put a line coming out of that vacuum rubber connector, put a little piece in, and then put a piece of hose on it and pulled it off. And then just started How did I do it again? I might have to look in the car. Yeah, that's right. So I put, that's the incoming vacuum there. And then I took the other end of the hose and I forced it up against each one of these holes, which corresponds to a vacuum line on the back. And I was able to get it to blow out of the vents. I was able to get the recirc thing to close. I don't know if anything happened down in that TEMPMATIC freaking system to do with this. This is constantly always pulling a little bit of vacuum. Yeah, there was one of them that did, I think, nothing. Maybe that's related to that. I'd have to look in the book to be sure. But I know that it should be working on at least going to vent or full defrost or the whatever recirc deal thing there. But when I move the controller, it's doing nothing. So I took on the bottom here, there's one little screw that holds on this whole little assembly here. So that was on the back. And then I kind of got it taken apart here, but I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this guy, it can go on multiple ways, can't it? No, it can't. It can only go on one way. This one's really small and it fits in that guy. Perfect. I can't fuck it up. But that was in this way. That little maze corresponds with all those holes in there. Then this little spring washer was on there with this deal going through. So you just squeeze that with pliers on the back, push it out, push it out, push it out. This had all sorts of freaking, I don't know, carbon and random shit in it, which may have been affecting the way it was performing. So I just cleaned it out, blew it out. Really good. It's actually kind of a cool looking maze. And if you look closely, it actually has its own part number, which is kind of cute. But yeah, so that's what I've done. I'm wondering if, feels pretty smooth, it's not quite sealing against this. So I'm wondering if I should wipe just some light oil on it. You don't want dust and shit sticking in there, but just the slightest light wipe of oil, and possibly bending the arms on this spring washer a hair more, just to keep a little bit more pressure on this plastic piece that squishes the rubber thing, because all this is gateways for the vacuum to go whichever way it goes, right? And it looks to be in good shape. It's not worn or busted or anything, but who knows, maybe it just shrank over the years or what. If that doesn't work, then we know this is probably in good shape, this little unit, and the vacuum is escaping out of one of those other vacuum line situations, and I'll have to read up and chase down where they go. But I know at least two of those diaphragms are holding good vacuum. So what I'm going to try for now is simply tighten up the spring washer, click this back in. If you break this, you're pretty much fucked. So be careful. And put some light oil on, like just like extremely light, and then even like wipe it off, just sort of maybe hydrate the rubber a little bit. That's my theory. Anyways, clean this out, blew all these out. I don't know. I just don't know. Got to try something, right? And this sort of makes a little bit of sense to me. Getting this to seal a bit better, because there's good vacuum coming in, and I tested with that vacuum. It was enough to operate those diaphragms. So that's what I'm going to do for now, and then I'll give it another shot and see if actually moving the lever on the controls does anything. And then I'll know if it was this or not, and whatever, process of elimination, I guess. It definitely feels a lot tighter than it was, because this thing was spinning around really easily before this tightening up of that spring washer. I'll put this back in the car and we'll see if it made a difference. Good results. You mean to tell me I didn't have to pull the dash, I didn't have to do all that to get this to work? Don't tell me that. Let's not talk about it. But we got a bit of success here. We got her cranked on full, we got it on hot on here, but the cable isn't hooked up because these things are on a limited lifespan of how many times they can go in and out. But it's set on hot, or no, it's set on cold. Let's set it on hot. Oh yeah, she's warming up. So that means the little hot cold flapper is working, as well as that vacuum actuated thing on the back of the intake there. You can see it has a vacuum line going to it. Yeah, so we go to defrost and we got no air coming out the vent. Got air, good air coming out there. Good air coming out there. And we got air coming out on the floor. Now I don't know if that's part of defrost. I'll have to check in the book. But when I pulled vacuum separately on that pod, I was able to completely get that floor one to shut off, and I had super high power coming out up here. But regardless, it's still pretty good. So we'll put it on heater. Much tighter to move, by the way. Now that we tightened it up, nothing out the vents. Looks like we got maybe more coming out down there. No, that's part of vent. Yeah, nothing coming out there. Not too much coming out the defrost anymore. Still some on the drivers, but lots coming out down here. Keep in mind, I was getting no change before I did that little cleanup of that valve assembly there. We'll put it to vent. Yeah, baby. And this will be a little more powerful when everything's all closed up. But what we're getting at here is it is changing. Good power down here. That shoots over to that tube down there, which goes to the nut cooler right there. It's not hooked up right now, and then over to this other vent. So if that tube was hooked up, we'd be getting air there, and we're also getting air here, which will come up over to this vent, although it does not feel warm. Should be warm, but it's not. Wonder if we lost circulation in the heater core. But regardless, I'm pretty happy with that. Not sure why it's not really hot coming out yet, but that can be figured out at another time. I'm sure the gate for hot and cold is working. I can see it. I can see it moving, as far as I know. We got hot right there. We got hot right there. So it's circulating through. I guess now we need to make sure that hot-cold valve is working. But regardless, we've definitely made progress. We got some different modes of air, travel, direction. So, good. Starting to get a little bit late. We might call her a night at that. Okay, still here, making discovery progresses. So when that door's closed, we got super hot heat coming out. What I found is this vacuum actuator deal here is what makes that door totally closed. It's not truly cable driven. The cable goes up and actuates something to do with this vacuum thingy-mabobber, which tells this thingamabobber and maybe this thingamabobber, I don't know, to close the heat vent. So this has vacuum pretty good. You see that? That'll close the door when I I take the vacuum off, it opens. Put the vacuum on, it closes, full heat. But this vacuum line, which is gray, is actually from up here. I don't know if it's leaking or what. And then there's this vacuum line here, which goes on this. And then it goes about halfway. Not getting enough vacuum. Now I got this thing set all the way hot. That's cold. That's hot. I wonder if it has something to do with this wire here or what. What the hell that little broken rusty thing is. There we go. Yes, so this just came free. That's that rusty broken wire thing. Uh-oh, it's broke something. Shit. So that's to do with that atmospheric tester wheel deal thing. Because once it gets to too hot, it will automatically cool down. It's that TEMPMATIC bullshit. So I'm gonna have to figure out what that's all about, and I think I just knocked this linkage out of something here. So I'll have to figure that out. Let's see what happens when I put it on cold. Nothing, because I broke the linkage, I think. But yeah, makes a little bit more sense. We gotta figure out what this rusted out wire went to. We broke, well, we didn't break it, it just rusted away to nothing. But I'm gonna do a little more figure in here, and it would be nice to have this fully hot, cold, functional, vents, bi-level, all that shit functional tonight, and I can start sealing it up tomorrow. Check out the factory gasket sealing. I did not move that. That's how it came from factory. You see it was squished there, squished there. I guess they didn't care about leaks. All right, it's literally minutes later. I think I've got this figured out. So the hot cold cable drives the lever up here, which ties down on this arm, and this ties into this little arm here. That goes to the atmospheric testing TEMPMATIC thingamabobberjigger, and it's got a little lever right there that goes into the hole in there. And what I think this small rusted out wire thing was doing is simply keeping that from falling out, because I can switch it to cold, the door will go cold, the lever is still on there. I'll switch it with the cable again right here. I'll pull it out so it goes hot. Door is closing. And it actually closes all the way. And then boom, this falls out. And then we lose our hot and cold control. So I don't know the exact routing of this. I'll look at some pictures in the book. It might be there, it might not be there. But in the grand scheme of things, we just have to get this to stay up in its home up there, and we'll be winning. Because now I can put this to cold and it won't move the door because the little lever fell out. Awesome. Pretty sure we got her figured out. And I'm about 10 minutes away from dying of carbon monoxide poisoning because we must have an exhaust leak. My nostrils can't call her a night until I secure that little lever on there, and I'm happy that everything's working. But once I do that, I'm gonna call her a night. And this is the second time I said I'm gonna call it a night, but I'm gonna call it a night eventually here, and we'll put it all back together probably tomorrow or another time. Okay, I lied again. I'm still here. I had to finish at least this one thing, getting the hot cold working. So what I did in there is drill an itty tiny hole and put a cotter pin in it. As to eliminate the broken up spring thingy that I found, because I couldn't figure out how that went. It didn't show it here in the pictures at all. I just couldn't quite see it, but you know, all it was doing was holding that arm on there anyways, so that's what I did, and it seems to work. I'll switch the thing to cold. You can see in there that's working. We can go halfway. Stops about halfway. So we got her working there. And then we go to defrost. Our door closes. Nice warm defrost. We go to heater. It's a little tight now. Less defrost, bunch down on the floor. We go to vent. Our doors open. And we get vent, which comes out here and directs both ways to the vents when I put it all back together. We got bi-level. Come on, baby, we got bi-level. And not quite go in it. There we go, wasn't quite in it. So then we get bi-level. The rest is all AC deals. Norm. And we'll go to vent. There we go. It's a little bit finicky. It's not sliding in the detents very nice here. Maybe I'll bend that little tab down a bit. Aha! Never thought I would do it, did ya? Now I just got to get it back together. But I'm surprised that I made this work. But it just goes to show that it's not all that crazy when you get down to it. It's just a matter of digging in, knuckling up, and getting her done. So now I'm going to lubricate all the pivot points in here. Just hoping that it'll help it live longer and stop rusting. This is the little compensator, I think it's called. That's the compensator arm or whatever. It's all in the pictures. But basically air sucks through here through a venturi created by the blower fan blowing past a hole or something. And it sucks atmospheric air, which actually it's sucking from right here. So I think it would be, I mean, if you had hot defrost going, it would probably be sucking warm air, sort of giving it a false alarm. And if you didn't, it would be sucking freezing air from the windshield. But regardless, it sucks the air in through there, and there's some sort of spring deal, like a thermostat thing, and it will control this compensator arm, which, like, even though you set the top to hot or cold, the bottom can move out with vacuum here, and it will control that door. Hence, TEMPMATIC. So kind of cool. It's like old school climate control. And somehow I've managed to figure it out. Try and make it seal up better. I'll double side tape this where it all mates up, so that seals good. I'll seal up all that either with, probably just with tape on that, or maybe some more sticky foam or something. I'll just close that gap up, and that'll just tighten up the whole venting system. So yeah, same with this. I'll tighten this. It's some of the staples are missing. Just hammer it together, man. Production. Yeah, I found a 1974 quarter in there. Tucked way back in there. Must have fell down, bent or something. And that's about it. We got quite the mess in here. Tools everywhere, shit everywhere. But I'm definitely calling it a night now. And that is a successful night. I think I came down here at around 7. And it is now midnight 30. So 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Holy shit. It's like 5.5 hours. But hey, a lot got done. I'm happy with it. Oh. Calling her a night, boys.